One.
What's up, everybody? It is Casey with Two Worlds Podcast, and with me, as always, it's the Sean to my Ed. It's Jake. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. I don't understand that reference.
Yes, you do. Shaun of the Dead, man. You're just tired.
Oh, okay. Is it because we were texting about it the other day?
No, I was just trying to honestly, I was like thinking in my head, I was like, we got to keep it, horror themed for the whole month of October. So I was like, got to go with one that he'll understand. And then, boy, was I wrong.
Nah. I do want to watch that movie again, though. It's one of
Yeah,
my favorites.
it's a good one. Man, so you know how we I have a question because you are more up on the times than me, I'd say, about certain things. Certain things.
Okay.
I've been on Twitter and I see people talking about this dude named Dream. What the hell is he?
So I don't know too much more than you, but I know that he is a YouTuber, I think, who has legitimately, when I clicked his profile, 5.8 million followers.
I knew he was in the millions.
And he just did a face reveal. Like he was always wearing a mask,
Yeah,
and he
I
just did his face reveal yesterday. And here's what's funny about that. Lots of people are like, he's hot, he's beautiful, he's ugly. He's the most basic looking white dude you've ever seen in your life.
mm-hmm. That's coming from two basic white dudes.
Yeah. I
Like I
mean, nothing special one way or the other.
yeah, that's what was funny. It was like people like it got trending, like ugly got trending on Twitter because of him. I'm like, the dude just looks normal. I
He's
don't get
not
it.
ugly.
No.
He's not a supermodel either. I
Yeah.
just don't understand.
Yeah. I think it's just because everyone was waiting so long, I'm assuming, since he's got so many followers. That just had me thinking too, like, man, maybe we should have had a face reveal.
Yeah, I think I almost would have just kept the mask because, you people just set expectations in their head, and you're not always going to meet those, obviously, if they got the word ugly trending. But
If
like, are you familiar with the music artist Marshmello?
no.
Okay. He is a guilty pleasure of mine whenever I need some like uh I don't want to call it techno, but just like I don't know, a little bit more boots and catsy than I would usually listen to. But he's got some catchy songs, and he is kind of like Dead Mouse or man, what's that duo that wears the helmets?
Oh, Daft Punk.
Daft Punk, except it's like a marshmallow and it's got like a face on it.
Oh, I've seen that before.
And as far as I know, Marshmallow's never done a face reveal. And it's just like, man, I like if that's gonna be your thing, let it be your thing.
Yeah. It'd be really funny though if like I had, $5 million and I could just like, or not five million followers and probably tons of money, I would have just hired like Henry, like been like, hey, Henry Cavill, here's some money, pretend to be me for my face reveal. This will be really funny.
That would have been great. Everyone would have lost their minds.
Yeah. Oh, and one other thing I want to bring up because I just finished like all my peppers. I'm just done with the peppers now for this season. But next year, because I made like one thing of hot sauce this year, didn't turn out the best. But next year is gonna be better. I'm gonna buy some books and and I also have ghost peppers. So I'm thinking next year though is make a like small batch of Two Worlds hot sauce. And so if you're listening and you're a listener and you're like, that sounds pretty good, let us know because I'll actually do that for fun. I think it'd be pretty cool.
I think that would be amazing.
Yeah, my thought is do like blueberry or pineapple with the heat, so it's sweet and spicy, so it's the two worlds. I've been thinking about it.
No, that's great. I definitely want one. And I'm not even that big of a hot sauce guy.
we'll have to, since you're the design man, you'll have to come up with the like a nice label for it.
For sure. I'll consult with our friend Edna who gave us our current logo. um but no, I think that sounds awesome. That's a great idea. I volunteer to put any or all three of my own blood, sweat, and tears into the recipe if you so desire.
Dude, I mean that'd be awesome. We could have a YouTube video of us making the hot sauce.
Yeah,
But I want to
it'll be super small batch.
yeah. I want to really try doing the old for like fermenting style. Like I've been seeing a lot of that and I'm like that'd be neat, but I'm also like I hate the thought of trying to ferment anything because I'm like it can go wrong and then I don't know, you know.
Yeah. Hey, you won't know till you try.
Yeah, but hey man, let's get into the news.
For sure. Who would you like to start?
I can just start. So you like we both have stuff on this. We'll start with this. There's like a report came out on the Blade movie. Marshala Ali is frustrated with the process. The script is only 90 pages long. It features just two lackluster action sequence. Bassem Tariq left as director just 2 months before production. And Kevin Feige is said to be spread too thin. And it's like, it kind of makes sense why this one would be kind of messing up since it was like Ollie's idea to be Blade. That's what Kevin Feige even said. So it's like, well, if he wanted it, and then, he's like, and Kevin Feige is not putting any time into it because he doesn't have this planned out. So that makes sense to me. But yeah.
Yes, and then the thing that I saw after that, like the next day, uh the script for Blade is reportedly being rewritten from scratch. Bo DeMaio is leading the overhaul after impressing Kevin Feige with writing the Moon Knight series and the upcoming X-Men 97 series. So, uh, at least Feige is bringing in someone that's already familiar with everything. And,
Mm-hmm.
Moon Knight was, I mean, it got mixed reviews from fans, but like, it definitely had some really cool parts. So I think that that's better than everybody hating it before production even starts.
Yeah. And I saw a thing today, but I Googled the all around to try to figure out if it's legit or not, and I don't think it is, but I love the idea, so I'm just gonna share it anyway. There's a thing that was posted on, I think it was Twitter and Instagram, that Sam Raimi is going to take over as director. Don't think it's true, but
I would love that.
yeah, I'm all about that.
Yeah, I was really sad to hear all that stuff about it because it's like, dude, two action sequences in Blade the Vampire Slayer, like, come
Right.
on. So hopefully they get it all worked out.
Yeah,
Because that's
no,
one
it's
that's one of the like it's on my short list of stuff that I'm like genuinely pumped for. I
yeah,
love me some Blade.
same. I mean, and I don't know, Blade is just so darn cool that it's a layup. Like it really is. It's not like the Eternals where it's like you guys gotta try to make this one good. Like this is like you have to try to make it bad, and I think they're trying to make it bad.
Yeah, agreed. Um, okay, so today, I think it was today, we got a new Black Panther trailer. Did you check that out?
I haven't really had the time yet today. Started harvesting, but is it? I've heard good things. People are pretty pumped. Did you watch it?
I did watch it. It's like it's pretty Namer heavy. We
Yeah,
really get to see him in action. They gave him the ankle wings.
I
So
saw a picture of that, so I was like, that's pretty cool.
yeah. Other than that, we get a little snippet of Ironheart. Um, and then the new whoever's taking over as Black Panther, people are assuming it's Shuri, but other than that, dude, like watching the trailer, I'm like, all this looks neat. Couldn't tell you what's happening.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it is what it is.
I will say though, stuff's come out that um Namor will not be the villain in this, like was officially report, originally reported. So we don't know who the bad guy's gonna be, but it's pretty cool. And like from the little bits of like stuff I've seen, like the more pictures and stuff I've seen of this guy that plays Namer, still not hunky enough. But I do think he's gonna be a good Namer, just looking at him anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, okay, I'll talk about this. There's a new rumor that everyone has been talking about. It's Harrison Ford may join Marvel's Thunderbolts to replace the late William Hurt as Thunderbolt Ross. You got an opinion on this? Because I know Harrison Ford helped raise you, just like from a movie, because you watch his movies all the time, not like literally.
Right. No, that's definitely true. I I don't know how I feel about this because like obviously just it's like yeah, that would be cool. But at the same time, it just doesn't really feel like his thing,
No,
you know?
no, I don't like him for that role at all. Like, you know what? You know who my first thought was? It's 100% because of the mustache. And your mom and my mom would love it. Tom
Tom
Selleck.
Selleck.
And he's like not as like I don't think he's as old as Harrison Ford. So it's like, oh yeah, he can for sure keep doing this, and you wouldn't have to worry about him wanting to retire or wrecking a plane, and all this type of stuff. So like I don't know. It's just I don't see Harrison Ford being the best. And plus him with a mustache is weird.
Yeah, I don't care for it. I love Harrison Ford, but that doesn't mean that I want to see him in every role.
Yeah.
Uh, okay. So another little small snippet. We got the official announcement of a community movie through Peacock this week, and I'm pretty excited, man. That they
Same.
always said 6 seasons in a movie. Now we're getting that movie.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. Like though I saw some people saying like it's unconfirmed if Yvette Nicole Brown or Donald Glover will join up. But here's the thing: there's been so many times where Dan Harmon's talked about he's like, we're not doing the movie unless Donald Glover can be in it, and Yvette has basically said like, yeah, I'll do it. Like the only reason why she wasn't in the last season wasn't because she was like mad or quit or anything like that. It's 'cause she had another TV show, but a movie's a lot easier to work around.
Right. And like all the cast members make it very clear how much they love Community.
Except
So,
for Chevy Chase.
well, right. And that's he obviously wouldn't be coming back, but it'd be nice if they slipped in like a hologram again or
Again,
something,
yeah.
just something to have them in there. But Community is just so good. And hearing that, I was like, I want to watch Community again.
Yeah. Did you ever finish the last season?
Yeah.
Okay, because I knew you had kind of were like, oh, I'm not the hottest because like you got the gas leak season and you're like it just kind of turned you off and I was like it gets better.
Right.
Trust
No,
me.
I mean it definitely ended fine. But there are obviously ups and downs.
Yeah.
But that's with any show.
But okay, so this will probably get you excited. Rings of Power season 2 has started production in the UK. So, I mean, that's pretty neat. Fun fact, I think it's Quora. Like I once asked I Googled a nerd question on there and you had to like sign in. So now I just get emails about random nerd crap that people have asked. And there was like this question about Middle Earth related lore. And so then like the other day I went down a rabbit hole of being like, what is going on with this stuff in the Lord of the Rings universe?
What was the rabbit hole? I'm interested.
Well, it was like, how does the Middle Earth end or whatever like that, and it's like this human fights this evil guy, like has his name and like this human's family lineage was just, was like besmirched from the beginning and blah, there's this big war and all this other. I'm like, this didn't happen in any of the movies I watched.
Yeah, I wonder if that's talking about Hallbrand. That sounds like it might
Probably.
be his story. But dude, yeah, when you start down the Middle Earth lore rabbit hole, it goes deeper than you know.
Yeah.
But Um, okay, so we got some Avengers Secret Wars news, and that is that Michael Waldron is going to write the script. And at first I was like, I have no idea who that is. So I looked him up. And he has written on Rick and Morty, Heels. He wrote Multiverse of Madness and also Loki. So I was like, all right, I guess that's the guy to do it.
Yeah.
Definitely some good credentials there.
All right, and while we're on the subject of Marvel, Marvel's Armor Wars is no longer being developed as a Disney Plus series and will now be a film. And I guess Disney is looking at doing that with a few other ones that they haven't really said yet, but some people are thinking Agatha and some other ones, which it's like, don't do that to Agatha. That one will only work as a TV show.
Dude, here lately, I'm liking the shows more anyway, so that's kind of a bummer. It's like,
So
no, just keep the shows.
genuine question, how you still liking She-Hulk pretty good? Because like I've been seeing stuff online where people are, it's like kind of the most annoying type of talking back and forth because it's like I don't like this, and then people will go, well, that means because that's just because you hate women, and then it's like, and then some people are like, well, that's true, but I still don't like it, and other people are like, I don't hate women, I just don't enjoy it, you know.
I haven't seen the latest episode yet, but otherwise, yes, I am enjoying it.
Good.
The uh the last episode I watched, which was I think episode 6, was definitely the weakest one yet because it was a standalone, like she goes to a friend's wedding episode, and it's just like, I mean, it's really standalone. So it definitely, I was like, yeah, I could have done without this episode, even though it had a couple of fun moments in it. But I mean, overall, I like it. I'm not really a huge She-Hulk guy. It could be trash if you're a big She-Hulk fan, but
Yeah.
most of the people that like come into the shop and complain about it, it's just like, okay, you just don't like women. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And like I watch it with my lady and she really likes it and she also doesn't know anything about She-Hulk, so maybe we're the target audience.
The I will say this though, just from stuff I've seen, and maybe it's like it gets better in the show version. She-Hulk, the CG on her is not great.
No, it's not great. It's
Okay.
not better in the show.
Okay. I hoping like actually it looks like Avatar in the show, but green. Like sweet.
And a lot of people do complain about that. At the same time, like I've always watched Star Trek and Doctor Who and stuff like that. It's like the bad CG, like at one time I was a twat about that. I'm not anymore, unless it's just like so bad. This isn't that bad. It's just like, oh, that's just not good.
My problem with the bad CG though, and this is like kind of a nitpicky douchebaggy thing, but it's the fact that Disney can't afford to do good CGI. Where that old Star Trek, it's like, oh no, this is old Star Trek. It's, they like this, they're working with what they have. Old Doctor Who. It's like you hear the shoestring budget they had. It's impressive that they were even able to make a show. And then like the later ones with Tennant and Eccleston and stuff, it's like, yeah, their stuff's not great, but they still worked around that. And like with this, it's like, oh, we're making a show that the main character is all CG, and it's like, oh, you're gonna bring it then? They're like, no. It's just
Yeah,
like, what are you doing, guys? Come on.
I get it. And I mean, I made the same complaint with Moon Knight. I didn't think that it was good enough then. Um, on the flip side, because it happened in Moon Knight and it's happening now, I'm just like, well, I better just get over it because
Yeah.
clearly that's just how it is.
The worst part though is from stuff that you hear. So it's like you're not, we aren't there, so we don't know for sure. But it's 100% just on Disney because like the VFX guys and gals, they want to be doing it right, but then Disney just keeps randomly throwing shit in last minute and making them go like, well, what can we do? That you guys are making this impossible to make this look good.
Yeah, I agree. Um, Okay, so bit of unfortunate news. Matt Wagner's Grindel is not moving forward at Netflix. It said that producers are shopping the 8 episode series around to other outlets. Matt Wagner sounded, positive that it could get picked up elsewhere. I hope that it does because he is a gem of a human and I like his work. So I hope that it does. It's a shame that Netflix axed it.
My worry is that I don't think it will get picked up just because for some reason every single streaming service is like, no, we don't want animated stuff right now. Like you look at HBO Max, it's like they have they went from having an amazing catalog of animated stuff that was like new and cool, and then now they're like, most of these have been gotten rid of for tax write-off purposes. And we've canceled a bunch of, like canceled the making of other ones too. And so I'm just like, I don't know. I'm hoping
It's
for it.
it's weird because from what I gathered, like it's done. Like it's made.
I think that's how Bone was too, though, with Netflix. So I
Yeah.
don't get it because like both of those have name recognition, especially Bone, where it's like people would want this. So
Yeah.
I don't get it. Okay, so some multiple scoopers have been reporting that Joe Manganiello is returning as Deathstroke. And nothing's been revealed yet, but there have been some talks that this has nothing to do with a possible Batfleck returning. And most think it's going to be Suicide Squad related, but they don't really know. And the last bit of news, it's DCEU related. Um, they like Gal Gadot, Henry Cavill, and Ben Affleck have all shown up, like have all been spotted in LY, where reshoots and photography stuff are being done for the Flash. So they're thinking there's gonna be an after credit stinger or something with them all being in it, Justice League style. Sucks that Ray Fisher won't be there, but
Right. That is interesting. It's just crazy how far like this back and forth has gone with all these actors and characters and stuff like that.
yeah,
Okay, my last bit of news. It's a shame that this came out the day that we released last week's
right.
episode because everyone's going to be like, obviously, we know this now. But Ryan Reynolds did confirm Deadpool 3 and that Hugh Jackman would be reprising Wolverine for it. I don't know if you watched the little video, Casey, but
I did, yeah.
it was pretty funny. I know I know our relationship with Hugh Jackman Wolverine is a bit rocky, but I
Yeah.
think that it will probably be pretty good for this because the other two Deadpool movies I thought were good. And I'm hoping that while they're gonna try to make Wolverine funny, but I also hope that they make him like Wolverine, like make him
No.
a hard ass that counters Wade's jokiness.
Okay. I've not seen a Deadpool movie all the way through, but Cable wasn't really jokey. Like I know he had moments where that were kind of funny. I have a feeling Wolverine's gonna be the same way.
Yeah.
So I think that's gonna be good. I hope he breaks out the yellow. If he's in a damn leather jumpsuit, I will go to Hugh Jackman's home and I will just say, "Sir, no." And then he'll feel bad because he's a nice person. And then, it's just gonna ruin his day. But no, I'm not like I've never been a Hugh Jackman fan. As like he's grown on me as an actor in general, but never been a fan of his Wolverine. And it's one of those things where people are like he's perfect for it. It's like no, there's plenty other people that can do, you know, that. But this should be fun. And I think the best part is just gonna be Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman being charismatic douchebags for, an hour and a half to 2 hours.
Yeah. I mean and I think they will because they're obviously very good friends in real life too.
Yeah.
Um yeah, I won't say that he's like the perfect fit, but man, I gotta say, even though there are some minor gripes, I really like the movie Logan.
Yeah. No, Logan's really good, but it's like, boy, the one that was supposed to be your last did, last time as Wolverine was the one that was the only one that I was like, wow, that's Wolverine right there.
Right. Well, hopefully we'll get some more of that version. So
Okay, so I saw this thing on Twitter, and it was like apparently three different posters on 4chan are all leakers for DC, but here's the catch. They all have different stories. So I'm gonna go through some of the stuff that they're in quotes leaking, and we'll see what we think could be real, what couldn't be. Just have fun with it because I have a feeling most of it's BS. So the first poster was going, he says, the new Justice League book is going to be written by Mark Waid and Jeff Johns. Roster consists of legacy heroes originally intended for the 5G relaunch. The JSA to be taken off of Jeff Johns and given to Brian Bendis. DC are apparently unsatisfied with the lack of progress Johns has been on the book despite requesting it. DC wants to relaunch the Super Sons as an ongoing. Current plans are to use continuity changes brought about by Dark Crisis to age Damian up to John. DC have noted the lack of audience enthusiasm to Tim and John's bisexual partners. Current plans are to make Tim a supporting character in Superman, son of Kal-El, and potentially make him John's new partner. There is conflict between Tom Taylor and DC over audience reaction to his Nightwing run. The original plan was to have a wedding at issue 100, but DC has noted the lack of reader enthusiasms for Taylor's take on Dick Babs and are moving to scuttle it as soon as possible. Current plans are to introduce a new male character for Babs to steadily fall in love with in Batgirls. Nothing confirmed yet, but signs are pointing to it being Jason Todd, which will spill over to Nightwing, where Barbara will call the wedding off. This will end with Batgirls being canceled and a new Barbara Batgirl solo series being announced, written by Teenie Howard, Becky and Cloonan was what they put. Are to be moved to an Becky and Clune are moved to upcoming Teen Titans relaunch. 2023 to have a Magic Crisis event, a big crossover with all the DC's non-creator owned Vertigo properties, even to be started with a one-shot called The Last Days of John Constantine, written by Jake's favorite, Cy Spurrier. The one-shot will end with Constantine's death and start the crisis as all of the many demons he's made pacts with fight for his soul, and it spills out into the world of the living. Zatanna, Swamp Thing, and a newly resurrected Zatara are currently planned to be the leads. So that's number one. I think a lot of that's bull crap because I just feel like every time anyone tries to say like, oh, your Nightwing sucks to Tom Taylor goes, oh yeah, look at this. These are the sales numbers. I'm really high up because that's how you argue with people. And so like I don't think DC really cares at all about most of the like the and like that and then like also like I don't think they're gonna make Tim and John date. I don't see that one happening either.
no, honestly, all of that sounds so bad. Like it just doesn't sound like a good plan at all. So I
I'm
don't think there's any merit.
the only thing that I think the Magic Crisis could be cool. I'm not gonna lie. I like because John Constantine's not gonna actually die. And like that would be pretty sweet. That just
Yeah.
sounds like a neat story. But the rest I'm not into. Poster 2. Because then this guy goes, good try. All fake though. Here are the ones I know about. I like to think it's all the same person just talking to themselves. Williamson is the next Justice League writer. It's the future state lineup plus Barry Allen and Marsh Manhunter representing the old guard. He will almost Batman, yes, again, and take over Gotham. The Bat family will step up to recover the city. Philip Kennedy Johnson is the next Green Lantern writer, Hal Jordan as the lead. Bendis is out of DC about Dark Crisis. Green Arrow dies in issue 5. Beast Boy becomes the new Deathstroke. The entire DCU is consumed by the Great Darkness, but Nightwing manages to rebuild it. After what went down in Dark Crisis number 7, Nightwing decides to propose to Barbara in Nightwing 100. Tom Taylor is also the next Titans writer. It's a new Teen Titans reunion with the characters exploring the consequences of Dark Crisis. Hopeless will relaunch Teen Titans. In Batman versus Robin, it's revealed Damian is a magical user. This will lead to a magic event in 2023 and him starring in a Justice League Dark relaunch by Mark Waid. He's also relaunching Doom Patrol. Thorne will relaunch Aquaman. Stephanie Phillips is taking over Action Comics after Philip Kennedy Johnson leaves. That one sounds more realistic to me.
Yeah, but I don't love a lot of that either.
I don't love it, but that sounds like stuff that DC would be doing because like Williamson taking over Justice League makes sense since he wrote it for Future State. The Philip Kennedy Johnson makes sense since he was writing the Green Lantern Dark Crisis thing. The like the Nightwing proposing to Barbara, I bet happens anyway. Tom Taylor writing Teen Titans is going to be hot garbage. Uh, I don't like the idea of Damian being a magic user, but if someone can make it work, I have faith in Mark Waid. Yeah, I think that could might be okay. And
My
then
biggest
poster,
beef would be Philip Kennedy Johnson leaving Superman.
yeah, but I'm excited for Green Lantern. I know you don't care since you're not a Green Lantern boy, but this boy is. Poster 3. Please, you people just scour CBR, comic Twitter, and company for things that piss people off or make them happy. Most of the ongoings are keeping their writers. Taylor's Nightwing and I don't know what SSOK is. Suicide? I don't know. That's not Suicide Squad. Oh well, whatever that is. Adam's Flash,
Is it
Philip Kennedy
supposed to
Johnson
be
Superman.
Dark Knights of Steel and they messed it up?
I don't know, man. Superman, son of Kal-El, probably because it's Tom Taylor, so it's probably that.
Yes. Yes, you're right.
Adam's Flash, Philip Kennedy Johnson Superman, Chip and Ram V's Batman, and Ridley's I Am Batman, etc. Um, Tom Taylor is going to be on Justice League, according to him. We all hate him, but he is unfortunately one of DC's star writers right now, and his books get a lot of press, good and bad. And DC want eyes on their Justice League run after Bendez's massive flop. The lineup is the usual big seven: Hal slash Barry plus Green Arrow plus Black Canary. Tom King and Gerards have pitched another 12-issue book for After Danger Street. No word on what character slash franchise it is yet, but Riddler One Bad Day was sort of a stopgap for Gerard so he could get some more income before DC approved their pitch. Johns is being kept in his little corner of the DCU, has pitched Legion of Superhero book. Justice Society of America is a 12-issue book when that is over, Johns is planning on doing the same for Legion of Superheroes. DC is happy Johns is writing for them again, but they don't really trust him to write a full ongoing anymore. Williamson on Titans. New Teen Titans lineup with Slade as a B plot. This is where most of the Dark Crisis fallout is going to happen, and Williamson slash DC are going to try to push Titans as a premier team alongside the Justice League. Thorn on the relaunch of Green Lantern. It's John and with the other Human Lanterns as side characters, except Hal, as he will be the Green Lantern of Tom Taylor's Justice League. Mark Waid has a Fab Five book in the works. It's a spinoff of World's Finest, like Batman vs. Robin. DC is trying to find someone to replace Stephanie Williams as Nubia's writer, as they do want Nubia to get another mini. Legacy League has been teased in canon, but I haven't heard rumors of who's writing a launch of that book yet, or if it's a multiverse book or main Earth book. No word on an Aquaman relaunch, as the two minis bombed really hard. So Arthur, Garth, and Jackson will likely just be regulated to Justice League, Teen Titans, and Legacy League, respectively. And then Tom Taylor, someone tweeted at Tom about this, and he goes, "Ha, going to 4chan for your news is like going to the ocean for your pancakes." Joke's on him. The Pacific Ocean has the best pancakes you've ever had. But any opinion on that last one?
Um, I mean, some of it sounds a little more credible than anything in the first one.
Yeah, for sure. And I could like Williamson taking over New Teen Titans. I could see that being a for sure thing, especially reading Dark Crisis. Um, Yeah, I mean, the thing that I makes me think this one's BS though is because as you reported, King is taking he's stepping away from comics for a while. So it's like I don't think that's, he'd be doing this that, like that, but who knows?
Right. I don't know, man. I mean, a lot of those are like some pretty significant changes to books or characters. So,
Yeah. I mean, I bet there's maybe some truth in some of these, but for the most part, I bet it's all kind of crap. But
right.
we will have to see. So that's the news though, man.
Absolutely. So now we'll take our ad break and we'll come back and talk some comics. So we'll be right back. All right, man. What is the talk of the town today?
Nothing really, dude. I've been just trying to get shit done and it's not really going too well.
I do have some unfortunate news. My Super Nintendo kicked the bucket.
Oh no, man. Now, was your Super Nintendo, I think it's the old style or the new style?
It's the Model 2.
Is that the one that it doesn't have the eject button? Or does it?
Correct.
Okay, that's the same type I have.
Yeah, I'm gonna see. I think there's a place in St. Louis that does old console repair. So I'm gonna have to look into that because it's the worst part is that like in the mail in like the next 2 days, I have a Super Game Boy coming for my
Oh
Super
wow.
Nintendo. Uh, so it's like, man, you picked just the shittiest time to die.
What's your go-to Super Nintendo game?
Kirby's Dream Course.
Okay.
If you never played, it is super fun.
I
Um,
th I think I played on your Super Nintendo new thing that
the
Nintendo.
classic, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Most everyone that I played with quits playing with me, but that's okay. Um, but yeah, that's the go-to. And then I got um, I just ordered Kirby's Avalanche, which is a Puyo game that is Kirby themed because I like me some Puyo.
What's Puyo?
Um, Man, you would know it if you saw it. It's just like matching four little creatures to clear them.
Oh, like Mean Bean Machine and that type of stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's just a Kirby version of that. And then for the Super Game Boy, I got um Kirby's. Well, I mean, obviously I could play anything on it, but I just recently reacquired Kirby's Pinball Land, and then a classic in my mind, Kirby's Block Ball, which is just a breakout style game. Breakout being you control the little platform at the
Oh, okay.
bottom and the
Yeah.
ball goes up and breaks blocks. It's that, except it's Kirby themed. So
I got a dumb question for you because I don't think it's the same, but you collect video games a lot more than me. So you might know this. Like let's say, because like with comics, if I have the first appearance of Beast Boy, it's going to be worth money. You know, if you're like, I think it's Super Mario Land, if you have that, which is like the first appearance of Wario, is that worth money now that people are collecting this shit? Or since it's just old video games worth money?
I think it's mostly old video games worth money. Like like certain systems, like the Saturn. I'm not saying all games are expensive, but like most
It's
games are
fucking seems
expensive.
like it.
Um, I would like to reference my $75 purchase of Virtual On a couple months ago. Um, and then I'll say this, there are, because there are some, it was, I don't know if it's still popular, but they do like a greatest hits version of certain games
Yeah.
where those won't be worth as much as like the original version of that game, even though it's the same game on the same console.
Yeah, like I had Luigi's Mansion's greatest hits version, and that's like not worth hardly anything. The
Right.
original Luigi's Mansion, it's like, holy shit.
Yeah, exactly. And Another prime example, Fire Emblem Path of Radiance for GameCube. It is my white whale, my holy grail. I cannot get it because it's just too damn expensive. So every time I check the price, I think it goes up a little bit more, which is a bummer. Because I passed that up like 3 years ago at that video game con here in St. Louis. It was like $75, and I thought that's too much for a GameCube game. And now it's about 275. So, you know, it like with comics, dude, it seriously just depends on what it is.
Fuck, dude, it's like Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I'm still like kicking myself over that because I sold so many of them right before they got popular again.
Yeah, I need to find mine because I don't know that I've got anything crazy, but they're at least like the first set of cards. So
Yeah.
yeah, collecting stuff is a bitch.
Mm-hmm.
All right, folks, welcome back. If you would like to hear Casey and I discuss some fun video game stuff, including Game Boy and Super Nintendo primarily, then you can do so over on our YouTube channel. That's Two Worlds Podcast on YouTube.
And if you would like for us to play video games with you, I don't fucking know. I'm tired. All you have to do is just show up at both of our houses, put a bag over our head, kidnap us basically, and then bring us to your place and be like, now tell us what you said, and while we play video games together. And then we'll gladly do that. But if you'd rather not break the law,
Gladly.
I'll gladly do that. Jake will be very worried. But if you'd rather not break the law and kidnap us and all, worry my dog who's sleeping right now, then just listen to the YouTube thing. Leave a comment down below. We'll love you for it.
And it'll save you some time.
Yeah.
But anyway,
What'd you read this week,
now
man?
we can get into that good stuff. I read a lot, dude.
I read a little bit.
So I read Briar #1, Triskele #4, Thor 27, Taskforce Z 12, Action Comics 1047, DC versus Vampires 9, Detective Comics 1064, Superman Space Age 2, and at the special request of listener Eric, I read begrudgingly Tim Drake Robin #1.
Oof. I bet that's terrible.
It was terrible.
Yeah. It's like if anyone else except for Tom Taylor was writing that, I'd probably check it out.
Tom
But
Taylor's not writing it.
I know I'm saying anyone other than
Oh,
her
okay.
or
I
Tom
I got
Taylor.
you. I got you. What about you though, dude?
So I read Old Dog #1, 8 billion Genies, issue 5. And I think I missed issue 4 because I was very lost.
Oh,
Because I think that might have been the week that Do a Power Bomb didn't come in. So I think that might have been the same thing. I'm not sure though. Stillwater #15, Superman Space Age book 2, Batman Detective Comics 1064, Taskforce Z 12, Thor 27, and Action Comics 1047.
how many total did you have?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Oh, I had 9, so I'll start us off here.
All right, man.
So Triskele #4 is written by Felipe Pan and Monoramas on the art. And I think this book is like really finally starting to pick up. Because there was lots of cool action scenes. The kids get rescued from that creepy dude's dungeon, and this guy seems to know a little bit about what's his name's powers, and there's a bit of a cliffhanger on one of the main cast potentially dying. So we'll see if that actually happens. But this book is still cool. I like the art style a whole bunch, and yeah, I'm at like a strong 7 on this one.
Nice, man. That's one thing that's kind of neat is with these type of books. It's like if that was, Batman where Robin's gonna die, you'd just be like, I bet he lives. With this, you're like, who knows?
I agree. I like it.
Okay, so old dog, number one. It's interesting. It's a neat story. It kind of shows how why this dude's doing what he's doing and all that stuff. Like, goes through and it's like it's weird though. His face will go like young, from back being old. Like after this thing blew up on him, now he like can be young, but then every once in a while he'll go back to being old. But it's like this kind of like spy thriller type thing, action thriller. It's by Declan Shelby with Clayton Cowles on the art too. And yeah, I mean it's pretty neat. I'm kind of lost, but I'm interested. Like that's the big thing is like, didn't really knock my socks off, but I am willing to give it maybe one or two more issues before I completely throw it away. So I'm at like a 7. It's cool. Like I said, like it's an interesting story, but I kind of, like I said, I don't quite get how he's turning young and old and all that stuff.
Yeah, right on. Well, hopefully that gets explained for you. Okay, let's get the dumpster fire that is Tim Drake Robin out of the way. Okay, so this was written by Megan Fitzmartin and the art's done by Riley Rossmo.
Your
So,
favorite.
so first off, I think the art is so bad, honestly. Like I get it's a style thing, but dude, like I just oh, it's not going to show because of the I've got a blur on, but like I don't think that looks like Tim or anybody really. So I
No, I mean, see, like, I think his art is like a less, oh, I'm trying to think of the word to use. It's like a less, I don't know, not really rushed, but like, oh, what would be a good word? Like sloppy version of the Batgirl's art. And I like the Batgirl's art too, but it's like, it's similar in that style.
right. Yeah, I feel that. And like certain panels, I'm like, oh, this is cool. When they're like wearing masks or something, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
It's like Ramita Jr. Like he does better if the whole face is covered up or something. But I don't know, dude. This book just tries too hard. It tries way too hard. Um, I realize that I'm maybe not the demographic for this book. You know, they're really leaning into uh Tim's relationship with his boyfriend, which everybody knows I don't have a problem with. But there's one scene where Robin and one of his friends from the We Are Robin days are working this like murder case, and the detective shows up and Robin's talking to him. And the detective's like, "Why'd you call me here?" And Tim says, "Well, I figured I'd call someone who'd get the job done, someone I know I can work with." And the detective just, this is literally what he says: "Absolutely not. I'm not your fairy gay father." Just out of the blue. That's his response.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I don't really think that's what Tim was asking.
Yeah. Wow.
So, fairy gay father. And yeah, I don't know. These two are just trying to work out uh, who murdered some people in Tim's neighborhood, and then some weird light monkey thing fights them, uh, which should be fun, but it's not. And then Tim buys a boat that he lives on now at the Gotham docks, and his We Are Robin's friend helps him clean it up. And then it says to be continued, and I sure wish that it weren't being continued. It
Yeah,
it was it was trash, dude. Like serious, there's nothing that
dude.
I can find that I'd like about it.
I mean, I'm not surprised. Like, she is not a good writer. That's, like, I'm not, like, I hate saying that, but it's just like, yeah, your urban legends thing, it was just really boring. And then your Young Justice was impressively bad. And then now this, it's just like, you're not good at your job.
No,
And because I mean, if you want to do the whole like, oh, working on the relationship stuff, you can do that and make that compelling and make that interesting, make that good. It's just she's not capable of that.
I agree completely. And if you want to incorporate, um, LGBT stuff in here, I can tell you how you don't do it. And that's to just randomly out of the blue be like, I'm not your gay friend, Robin, when Robin is just like, hey, detective, can you help us solve this murder?
But the worst part about that too, though, is Tim is the best detective outside of, Bruce. It's like, oh, boy, I can't do this. It's like, no, he would be able to do this on his own, unless it's like, oh, he's just second guessing himself, blah, all that crap. But I'm assuming you don't even get that from it. He's not, yeah. So
No, this
it's
this
just,
was this was extremely bad.
yeah.
Just impressively bad even. So
Pick of the week then?
I think my grade fits the issue number. I'm gonna give it a 1.
Nice. Okay. So, I mean, since you own the shop, you can just like put that back on the rack, right? You don't have to pay for it.
I'm 100% giving it back to the shop.
Okay, so issue 5 of 8 Billion Genies by Charles Soule and Ryan Brown. And even though I was lost, and so that's why like I'm just gonna start off by saying I'm gonna give this an incomplete because a lot of stuff happened between the two issues that I, like I said, was lost on, but I was still very interested in this. Still liked it a lot. I like, all the different stuff that's happening. A big thing happened with a wish at the end. And it's like, and that would have been like a fine spot to end it. And there's 3 issues left. So I'm like, what are they going to be doing with the next 3 issues? I'm very much captivated. I'm very much interested. And I very much have been saying very much too much, but I think people should be reading it. It's really, really good.
It's a pretty good seller
I'm
at the
glad.
shop too. I
Like,
think
I
a
know,
lot of that is just speculation, but
yeah. I mean, I know you hate Charles Soule now because of Star Wars, but
I don't hate him. I just don't care for his big two stuff.
I mean, that I don't even think that's true, man, because you just don't like his Star Wars stuff because you liked a lot of his pre this stuff that you had read of his. I remember because that's how we both
That's true. I should say current big two stuff, which is just Star Wars. Because
yeah.
his Superman Wonder Woman was really good.
And his Daredevil was like, it started off like I was grumpy about it at first because like it was just nothing like Mark Wade's, and he's like he didn't even try to keep it like that. But once you get past that, it's actually really good. And yeah, his
I still believe in him. I
yeah
just hated that Star Wars stuff.
his She Hulk is very good too.
They put out for the show, they did a complete collection of that run. And even though I was never a fan of that art, I picked it up because of how highly you spoke of it. And I was like, I
Yeah,
should probably have something She-Hulk related.
other than all of Rainbow's run.
Right, exactly. Which is, I can't see his run topping this one, but maybe it does.
I mean, I'd say there's more stuff happens that in his run so far, versus how Rainbows is kind of like nothing really happens. It's just enjoyable,
Yeah.
you know?
All right. So next up for me is DC versus Vampires 9. It's written by James Tynion and Matthew Rosenberg with art by Otto Schmidt. And it's pretty fun. Uh, So like Green Arrow kind of goes on a solo mission to this like vampire feeding camp to take out their leader. Meanwhile, Black Manta, Steel, Supergirl, and Jaina all go to Australia, which is sort of supposed to be the safe place in the world. But then Aquaman shows up before they get there to fight them, and Black Manta takes off her helmet and reveals that it's actually Mara that's under the Black Manta helmet. And that was mildly gaspy, but also pretty cool because Mara controls water, and that's a cool thing.
I just picture you reading this comic in bed while Brielle's asleep, and you go, and she's like, "What?" Like, "Oh, nothing. It's just this comic I'm reading." And she's like, "Go to bed."
I I wouldn't have gasped out loud for this one, but there are some that I definitely would do
Yeah.
that for. But anyway, it's definitely a fine issue. Damien shows up at the end for one of the other teams, which consists of Black Canary, Harley, Barbara, and Frankenstein. And he's like, "Yeah, I know I'm a vampire, but I'm also your best shot at getting into Gotham to do whatever you're gonna do." And then it says to be continued. So uh yeah, I still don't like this as much as I do the All Out War spinoff, but it's still fine. Like it's definitely when Casey dropped off, I understood why, but it's better now. It's more back to like the fun stuff with like random teams doing stuff,
Yeah.
which is what it's supposed to be. So I will give that an 8.
Right on. Okay, so Stillwater, issue 15 by Chip Zdarsky and Ramon K. Perez. And so yeah, the main dude in this is becoming kind of like a church leader, basically just trying to use charisma to get everyone just to want to leave the town of Stillwater because they tried to do it by force. It didn't really work. So now he's trying to do it this way to get it to work. And, a bunch of stuff's going on. They're still trying to work this other town, just kind of break their will. But like this town, unlike Stillwater, this town has social media or had social media and all this other stuff. So it's like it's a lot harder to break them versus it was, for Stillwater. Um, yeah, this was like a weaker issue, and the art I like Ramon K. Perez's art most times. It just seems kind of rushed this issue. Like faces just seem off. Like here's the main character. He looks kind of like his just how his face is like warped for some reason. I just didn't feel it. The story of this in this one I wasn't super hot on. I don't know if this is my mood. This is one of the weaker issues of this series. I'm still here for the ride, but yeah, this one just didn't do much for me. I'm gonna give it a 5.5.
All right. Uh I think my final issue before mutuals is Briar #1. It's written by Christopher Cantwell and illustrated by German Garcia. And this is my pick of the week. This book was awesome. I picked
Nice.
up a couple of the variants. I will still show you the A cover. Well, I guess I can't really show you
It's
the A
like
cover.
the A cover is just a big old dick. That's
Yeah,
why it's blurring out.
it's because my room's a fucking mess right now and I don't want
I
to show
gotcha.
that. But anyway, this was like, this is a dark fantasy twist on Sleeping Beauty.
Hmm.
So it's like instead of the Prince Charming or whatever kissing her and waking her up and they get married and live happily ever after, he's like, I'm not going to kiss her and wake her up, but I'm still going to marry her. And so she just stays asleep for long after her husband and her father like go into this big battle and like lose their kingdom essentially. And then a random stranger shows up one day, hooded, we don't see who, uh, wakes her up, and it's just sort of the craziness that comes after that. Like she's going around thirsty, hungry. She needs new clothes. She's trying to tell people that she's the princess of this kingdom, and they're all like, "Okay, crazy lady." And then she gets teamed up with I don't want to say it's an elf, but it's like an elven race uh lady, and they get captured by a group of slavers, and they break out once they reach this desert. Um, and that's kind of where it ends as like a to be continued thing. But it's great. It's really great. I loved it. I really hope that it keeps up this momentum because, you know, dark fantasy Sleeping Beauty should sound cool to everybody,
Yeah.
and they actually nail it. So this is getting a 10 out of 10 for me. And like I said, pick of the week. Uh, check it out if you need a new book.
All right, man. So what order do you want to do our mutuals in?
Let's end on Space Age because I had to read one and two, and
All
I
right.
want to lump them together.
All
And
right, man.
also, I hope that you like that book.
Boy, you're in for me to talk about it because I'm not gonna spoil my opinion on it yet.
Okay.
I think I might have had a stroke as I was talking because what I said didn't make a lot of sense.
It's late. We're
Yeah.
tired. Let's do Thor Task Detective Action Space Age.
All right, man. Okay, so Task Force Z by Matthew Rosenberg and is it Eddie Barrows? Is that his
Yep.
first name? Okay, and Eddie Barrows on the art. Uh, like this is a very good end to this series. It was a lot of fun. It was very cool. Rosenberg is a very good writer. What's your opinion on this?
I adored this book, dude.
I know, man. I know you did, buddy.
Like, here's the thing. It wrapped up while setting something else up, but normally I complain about that they focus too much on the setup. This is perfectly fine on its own.
Mm-hmm.
They could never touch this again, and it wouldn't change how I feel about it. It was
Yeah.
just, it was a solid year-long maxi series. It got the ending that I think everybody is probably happy with, and I like what happened. It was great.
Same, dude.
Also, I got worried. I got worried there towards the end with Stephanie showing up. I was like, are they gonna do like a weird relationship thing? But they didn't. It was
Yeah,
just
they're saving that for Babs and him.
yeah, I know, right?
She's gonna finally get that letter.
Yep. But no, I like the twist with like Harvey and stuff like that. I don't know. Just all of it was amazing. I loved it.
Now, do you think we're gonna get a Jason hunting Joker book also?
I mean, that could be next week is when that new Joker series starts.
Oh,
Maybe that
okay.
ties into that. I have no idea.
But no, I liked it a good bit. I mean, the one thing that like I just to gripe about something, it's like the way that like Bloom gets beat and all that stuff. It's a little like just kind of like, oh, okay, like it's just like, yeah, I guess that works. I guess he's done now.
Yeah.
Like
But
that,
he's not dead because we don't
yeah,
see a body. He'll
yeah.
be back.
That's what you're telling yourself because you just love him so much.
I
If he
do
died,
now. And this is the
if
only thing I've read.
yeah, if he died, you wouldn't know what to do with yourself.
I would be inconsolable.
So what would you rate it, man?
I mean, honestly, like another 10. I
Yeah.
loved it.
Yeah, I'm a good bit cooler on it than you. I still really liked it, and I am excited to see where stuff goes. And Rosenberg's just kind of like worked his way into my heart as someone that I'm always gonna read. So I'm at probably 8.5 though. Probably a 9-ish something for the series as a whole though. What about you?
Oh yeah, I mean it'd be like a 9 or a 9.5. I can't think back to an issue that I like didn't like. So,
Yeah.
all right. The next we've got Thor 27. It's written by Al Ewing and Donny Cates and Salvador LaRocca on the art. Yeah, if I'm being honest, I wasn't into this.
Really?
Yeah.
Nah, see, I was for the probably the first half, and then towards the end, I thought it was interesting again. But like once Venom just kind of showed up and that stuff, like I wasn't super into, like I said, until the end. But the art's really good in it, and you know the stuff beforehand, I thought that was interesting. But I don't know, it's just like Venom is much, in my opinion, is a much cooler character as a street leveler, and just being like, I can come out of nowhere and just take care of my symbiotes, but no, I can't. Isn't near as interesting anymore.
The allure of Thor crossing over with all of Donnie's other Marvel books is fading quickly for me. Like I just want a Thor book, dude.
Yeah, I know.
I'm like the Hulk stuff was kind of fun for a couple issues. I don't want that again with Venom. I do not
Isn't
give a fuck about Venom.
isn't this like only gonna be 2 issues? Because I
It's
thought that's what.
too many.
See,
Like
like
his
I
dude, his best stuff was before that Hulk stuff started. Like we were loving every single issue. Like what's going on with
oh.
Throg and that team.
Yeah,
Uh
but the whole Donald Blake stuff, I'm still a little. I still have some like, come on.
okay,
I,
but even though that was like the worst of it, like I think that was still like okay.
yeah, I mean, but I also think the Hulk stuff was okay. Like, I think it was one of those things where it's like I knew Donnie couldn't deliver what he promised, because he promised like this is gonna be the thing that proves once and for all who's strongest and blah blah blah. It's like you're not gonna do that, and
Yeah.
he didn't.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I'm probably like a 6 on this. I'm not into it.
Yeah, I'm probably 7.5 because it's like I liked what I liked. I liked a good bit. It's just like I said, as soon as Venom showed up until like the last 2 pages, I was just like, this just doesn't seem necessary. Venom's a lot like there's a reason too. I'm just gonna say this, that they went with this design of Venom on the front because that's the cool one. And then in the comics, though, we get this design, not as cool.
Yep.
And then it's like Venom grows wings and flies. That's not near as cool as him thwipping around like he's Spider-Man.
Well, he's the king in black now. It's different.
Yeah, but it's not like that's like being like, yeah, well, Wolverine now he can shoot guns out of his hands too. It's like that's not what we wanted about Wolverine. It's like, yeah, he's king of the adamantium, so he just controls metal. Like no one wants this. Okay, man. So next up we have the Detective Comics 1064. This is by Ram V, and it's got Raphael Albuquerque on the art. And yeah, man, it's main story stuff. Pretty captivating, in my opinion. What'd you think?
I thought it was fine. Like the little legend that Talia tells Damien is like, okay, whatever. But once it gets to like the actual current day stuff in Gotham City, then I was like right back in it.
See,
Um,
even that's for stuff I enjoyed, and
oh,
yeah, no,
I mean, I did too. I I didn't dislike it. I was just like, okay, that's a neat story.
yeah,
And I could not be bothered to read the backup. So
yeah. I mean, I'll be honest. I think I would have been more interested in this Cy Spurrier backup had it been. And I like Jim Gordon, as we talked about with the Tynan uh Joker book. I like Gordon, but I don't really want to read another Gordon, especially this one not being like it's like this was back when I was a cop type story, like I'm just not in the mood for that. It had been like basically any of the Bat family that are underutilized I would have been more apt to read it. Like if it was a Duke book, a character that I think is pretty cool, but I know nothing about, I'd be more apt to read it. That's one of the things that's going to knock this down. The main story I really liked, like I said, very captivating, but that backup couldn't be bothered to read it, so it's going to lower it to 7.5.
Well, and I think you liked it more than me, so I guess I'll say a 7.
Okay, man.
All right. Action Comics 1047. And it's by Philip Kennedy Johnson. And the art is so wonderful, done by Riccardo Federici. And I like this one a whole lot, dude. What about you?
I did all as well, man. Like it's cool seeing all the different stuff that he plans for the next issue, for these coming issues. Really, really cool. Even the backup story in this is really cool. It's so jarring though. Like the main art, it's like, oh yeah, this is pretty cool. Then the backup art is like it's by David Lanfan, and this is like 90s style art versus like fantasy Dungeons and Dragons cover art. It's
Yeah.
such a weird, mismatch of stuff, but it's
Yeah,
cool. I'm very curious as to who Lex Luthor's friend is. That's leaking info to him and all that stuff.
right.
Like
Did
I'm
you like
very,
the Metallo stuff?
I did, I think, because like this is probably the first time outside of like when I was a kid and I read it would have been Batman and Superman when it was like maybe Metallo killed Bruce Wayne's parents, and they're like, nah, he didn't. And that was like basically the whole, like premise of like the first thing. It's like it could have been Metallo because he was just a crook at this time and he could have robbed him and shot him. And then it's like, no, it wasn't. Like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, I like the whole what he's thinking shows up on the screen thing because they took out his voice box. But I gotta say, dude, my favorite part though, Flash Dog.
Oh yeah.
I love that. Superman saves his family, and the little boy hands him his plush dog wearing a Flash costume and asks Superman if he wants Flash Dog. Says you can have him if you want. And Superman says, "You hold on to Flash Dog, son. I think he'd miss you an awful lot. But there's one thing you can do for me. Keep wearing your seatbelt, just like you did today." It's just like, God damn it, Philip Kennedy Johnson, you did it again. It's so good. It's so good. That's back to our news, man. I'm gonna be so sad when because he's not gonna write it forever. It's gonna be
Yeah,
a sad day when he leaves because it's just so good.
I agree, man. So where are you at with this? Probably another 10?
I am honestly, dude. I mean, there was a lot of good stuff this
Yeah.
week.
Well, for me, I'm gonna say a 9.5, but I have a reason. And to give my reason, Superman Space Age by Mark Russell and the All Reds on the art. So I'll let you kind of take lead since you read number one and two. So what do you think of number one?
I thought number one was a masterpiece.
See, like I remember reading number one and being kind of let down as I was reading it, just because I was like really, really pumped, and I was like, and then like I was like, oh, this wasn't near as good as I had hoped. But boy, I like this one a whole lot. Did you like this one?
Good. Yeah, I did. I was worried that you weren't gonna like it, and I was like, man, like, why are we so different on this? Uh, no, I like how Russell writes like Batman, even, during
Dude,
all of his stuff.
I loved his Batman more than his Superman, if I'm being honest. Like
Yeah.
I enjoy his Superman, but the way Batman is dealing with the like, corporate corruption and all that stuff is so cool. And I love my favorite part was the Flash stuff with the
Mm-hmm.
bombs.
With the
Like
bombs, yeah.
because Flash is he's got these bombs. He's always working on defusing them because he's like, people are always yelling, "Flash, Flash, there's a bomb." I don't know what to do with it. He's like, so throughout the whole thing, there's this ongoing gag of him doing this. Brainiac shows up, and then like Flash is just like, yeah, well, he was talking. I just filled up his thing full of my bombs.
Yeah, it was hilarious. I think my favorite part was uh Clark standing up for Lois and then them going out to the bar and finally like confessing their love for each other. I thought that was just a really well done couple of pages.
Yeah,
Um but yeah, I mean really just all of it is so awesome.
I agree. And then I think it's hilarious too, like when Clark is about to tell her, that he's Superman, and then she's like, I broke Watergate. I know.
Yeah, dude. It's and speaking of obvious like duh moments, like people should know that Bruce Wayne is Batman. It's the same suit that he showed the military. It's the
Right.
same thing. They any of those military guys could be like, huh, that looks like that private suit that Bruce Wayne showed us. But anyway, yeah, I it's like, dude, like if Philip Kennedy Johnson has to leave, my pick for his replacement is Mark Russell.
Like, I don't know. I want Mark Russell to be taken over Batman after the way he did this, because it's just like, to me, it's just such a good way of writing Batman. The only thing that I didn't like is who they killed in this book. Because I
Yeah,
think I think that was a slice of malarkey if I ever did see it. But I'm still gonna give this a 10 out of 10. And that's my pick of the week.
nice, dude. Just to not give out so many darn tens, I'll say a 9.5. But dude, reading both issues, which by the way was like reading an omnibus,
Yeah, right.
uh, I was just like, man, this is good stuff. Loved
Yeah.
it.
All right, man. So that's our comics. So what are you excited for in this next week?
So I'm gonna say, hmm, sort of Azrael, because that's been cool. Also the new Red Sonja series starts, which is Unbreakable. So I'm gonna see how that compares to Immortal that I'm liking so much. And um man, I don't know. It's a pretty light week for me, honestly. I guess maybe the final Jane Foster and the Mighty Thor, just to see how it wraps up.
I figured you were gonna say Axe Star Fox since you're such a big fan of his Nintendo games.
You're funny.
All right, so for me, I'm gonna go with Dark Crisis. And why did you stop reading that book? It's actually still pretty fine for a event book.
I don't know. I just missed it once and then like realized I didn't actually care.
I gotcha. And then I'm gonna go Dark Ride #1. Like, I was like, every once in a while there's a book I don't know what it is, I'll Google it. And this is like Joshua Williamson, the creator owned book. I'm like, sold. And
It
then
looks wild too.
yeah, and then Genies 0, because I really like that book. Okay, now Fantastic Four time. Since we've been doing the whole like, oh, what creators we want to be consultants on different things, this time we got Wonder Woman, and this one will be the hardest one for me because I am not as well versed in Wonder Woman as you.
Well, it's also kind of tough for me because one person that I would like to choose just passed away.
I
So,
know.
um, okay, so there's two obvious ones that I know Casey's also using, and that's going to be Brian Azzarello and Cliff Chang.
See, I wasn't gonna do Azarello because his take was so different. I don't think, his would work well with others, even though I loved it. Like, that's my favorite version of Wonder Woman.
Yeah. Um, so apart from those two, I'm gonna say, well, I might not be like a fan of his all the time. The Wonder Woman that I've read of his is really good, and that's Greg Rucka. Um, and then the final one, I feel like I should do another artist. I'm gonna say like Joelle Jones. We know she can write as well, just as well as she
Yeah.
can draw. So there you go.
Okay, so I think Rucka has to be on there, even though, like you, I'm not his biggest fan. Gail Simone, and then the Dodsons did, the art. So like you can't go wrong with the Dodsons, but they're a package deal, so that doesn't count towards the four. But
Yeah.
the Dodsons will be number three, and then yeah, I'm gonna go with Joel Jones too because I like that choice. So yeah, man, that's the Fantastic Four.
All right. Which does in fact bring us to the end of the episode. So closing plugs, if you would, please go to facebook.com/Two Worlds Podcast and give the page a like. You can also follow us on Twitter at two_worlds_PC and on Instagram at Two Worlds Pod. You can email us at twoworldspodcast@gmail.com. And if you would, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's Two Worlds Podcast on YouTube.
And leave us a comment down below about what your favorite comic book was this week. That'd be really cool to hear.
Yeah.
Just be like, oh, I loved the Tim Drake book. What is Jake smoking? Probably crack. And we'll be like, well, dang, get us some of that crack. But we'd love to stay in chat, but we kind of got to go to the Winchester and wait for this all to blow over. Bye, guys.
Bye.